It's now recording.
Okay, namaste. Let's do a guided relaxation with a little bit of warm up to begin with. So we're sitting straddle over a bolster, which we've got on top of a couple of blocks. So we put the 2 blocks, or maybe a couple of coffee table books, with a blanket over the top, and then a big cushion. So that could be any firm cushion, or if you followed the video on how to make a bolster on YouTube, that would tell you how to make a bolster using towels and blankets. Put that over the top, and then you're just going to sit down on top of the bolster cushion, making sure there's no pressure on your knees. And then roll up the blanket, the loose ends of the blanket. Now you're just going to roll them up and wedge them under the front of your feet to give a little bit of support in the front of the foot area. Yeah, and then with the free ends of the blanket, just put them over the feet so they don't get cold. Well done. And then just sitting nice and upright so that your armpits are directly over your hips. Well done. And that your legs are nice and tight into the bolster. And so let's just move the shoulders around a little bit, swaying side to side. That's it. And winding the shoulders. And then moving the spine a bit. Leaning the head over and just getting nice and soft and supple, because key thing is to keep everything soft. No resistance, no sudden hard movement, no fierce grip. And we need to focus on the breath. So put one hand on the lower abdomen and the second hand on your upper chest. You might want to close your eyes and focus your attention to the mouth of your nostrils. Have a nice loose mouth itself, but thinking to wait and appreciate the breath coming in through your nostrils. So you don't have to do anything to breathe in. You just have to appreciate the fact that air is rushing into your nostrils, going down your throat into your upper airways. And you want to encourage it not to just stop here, but to go on down into your base of your lungs, whereby you'll feel pressure building so that the diaphragm starts to move and you feel your belly move outwards, away from you, pushing your lower hand. When the body is ready to get rid of that breath, which you can't control, you just let it happen, and you might notice your hand comes in. So as you breathe in, you're looking for the belly to move outwards. And as you breathe out, you're hoping that the belly will come in. If you find that this feels alien and quite contrary to what you normally do, then just bear with it. It takes a while to change a habit that you might have had for a very long time. So if you've got more action going on underneath your top hand, then you want to just try to quietly send more focus into the bottom hand before you grasp the next breath in the upper chest. Yeah? So we're trying to stretch and elongate the breath, getting it as long as languid as possible, so that it feeds and nourishes all the lung tissue. The lung tissues are very big. They start right up here by the collarbones. When they finish down, they're protected by the low ribs. And then underneath that, you've got this diaphragm moving in and out, a bit like a pair of bellows squeezing the air. You open them to bring the air in, and then you squeeze the air out to fan the flames of the fire. So now you're thinking about fanning the flames of your own circulation, of your own metabolism, to make you healthy, to ensure that all the cells of your body are fully regenerated, fully loaded with oxygen. So that will help you be healthy, have a good metabolism, as I said, good digestion, good breathing, good immunity, good exchange of nutrients, good digestion. Okay, so this is the breath that you're going to try to cultivate and nurture, not just in your yoga relax, but in everyday life. So when you get a particularly demanding situation, somebody's been particularly difficult, then you try to drop into the sensation. You may not be able to put your hands as they are now, but which you could imagine that they are there, and we often say, well, take time out, take 5, take a few breaths before you react, so that your reaction becomes a response, a considered, healthy, well-judged, calm, lucid response. So you might notice that things are moving in your lower abdomen. Does that feel better, Jane?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay, and your mind feels a little bit more settled after all the stuff work that we've had to do to try and pull this together. Jane's been very patient and being my assistant. So next, make this your penultimate inhale, and then your ultimate inhale, and when you finish the next exhale, and just slide the hands down to either side of you. Okay, so holding on to that thought, and we call that letting the breath become legible, so that we can understand the breath, and that's the key factor that is the underpinning, the roots of your yoga practice. Okay, so we'll do a little gentle twist so that we're getting nice movement going. So I'd like you to pick up your right hand and put it on your bolster or in the beginning of your left thigh. And then taking that same focus with the breath, just float the left arm out to the side, turn the wrist, and bring the hand back around behind you so that it rests on the back of your bolster. Yeah, that's it. And now you're moving to the left as you breathe out. So when you breathe in, you sit up tall, stretch the spine a little. And as you breathe out, you're just gently moving your belly button and your ribs and chest and shoulders and head to the left. So you change your position. You're going to take a slow inhale and a slow exhale in that twisted position, trying to keep both shins to the floor. And then when you next want to breathe out, let the belly button move round back to face the center again. Well done. So it's a very slow, gentle turning motion.
Yeah, very slight.
Yeah, very slight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Release the hand from behind you and the hand in front, and let that dangle. But they're both dangle, I should say. And you might feel that there's a slight wear pattern going back to the left, even though it's a very gentle twist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what we do on one side, we have to do to the other. So when you're ready, you're going to put your left hand on the front of the bolster and your front hip somewhere where it's comfortable to rest the hand. Breathe out with the right arm. Flip the wrist and then send the arm out behind you just to rest gently on the bolster support underneath you. Does that feel comfortable now?
Yeah.
So as you breathe, good. So as you breathe in, you're just letting the spine lift a little, so your head might reach up a bit. And now we're moving right ways. We start with the belly. So think about moving the belly round, then the ribs, the chest, the shoulders, and then finally the head turns without dropping the chin. Take a breath in here. And then from the belly, you're going to move back. So slowly exhaling. So you're moving at the pace of the breath. So you know already from class, well done. When you come back, then gently just let the arms dangle beside you. And when you're ready, we'll do that on the other, go back the other side to go to the left again. So right hand comes in front of you, left arm breathe out, flip the wrist so the thumb is pointing down. And then exhale the arm out behind you, really nice and soft, very slow, nothing hurried. And then you're ready to breathe in and turn from the belly button, the rib cage, the chest, the shoulders, and the chin and the nose and the eyes all follow around the room with a nice straight spine. You breathe in tall into the crown of your head here, and then when you're ready to come back, you think about the belly and you move it back. So you avoid crumpling the spine. And then That's it, well done. And then as soon as the arm, you come back to centre, you can unravel the arms. And then once again, you'll have a wear pattern. You feel that you've worked more on the one side.
Yeah.
Yeah. You set up on the other. So ready to sweep out with that right hand arm behind you. Just gently resting it on the bolster. Well done. Take a breath, pull, and then guide yourself around. I'm just going to watch you this time. So you're moving from the belly, then from the ribs, then from the chest, then from the shoulders, the chin, the nose, and then the head. So that your bottom remains firmly planted on the bolster. That's it. And you just go as far as your breath will allow. You don't want to go beyond the breath because that's a cheat, that's a stealing from yourself. When you're ready to come back, you'll know because you need to breathe out, because you've tuned into the breath in your nostrils. So this natural pace at which and rhythm at which your breath is coming in and going out is what your body needs. It's different from what my body needs. We don't all breathe at the same pace all of the time.
Okay.
So well done. How does that feel?
Yeah, good.
It's a bit calmer, a bit sort
Nice
of
and relaxed. It's surprising, those slight movements. Exactly.
yeah, just tiny tweaks in the muscles, you know, can make major changes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. How are your knees and shins feeling?
Yeah, okay. Probably
Yeah,
gone
no,
to sleep, but that's fine. We'll keep going.
no, well, if you're getting it, them going to sleep will come up off the bolster. It's important not to go into discomfort.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I'm going to ask you to do is from the dangled arm position, you leave your arms hanging. Then you breathe thumbs and palms and elbows and shoulders out so that you open your chest. You can feel a little stretch. Yeah. And then inhale the arms out wide, like you would do an upward salute. Yeah. Collecting the air above your head. Now flip the wrists forward facing.
Yeah.
Press down through the front of your shins and feet and lean your chest forward, not your chin, but your chest. So you lean over, forward and down, offering your hands onto the floor. Might be little fingertips, like little paws. Yeah, bring them down.
Yeah.
Now tuck your toes under. So you have to sort of scoot your toes underneath you. Yeah. And then you're going to walk your hands back. So you end up sliding off the bolster and sitting in a little squat position. Yeah. Well done. And then we'll put the bolster to one side and undo all our blankets and bits and pieces. Well done. There you go. And we've come out the first little bit of breath work. So sit on your bottom for a moment and let your legs recover. So, yeah, just flip of the legs, waggle the feet.
Oh yeah, my leg's gone dead.
Yeah. So make sure that you give them a little bit of a rub, bit of TLC, front and back. So it's really important at this time that we don't have any tightness or any discomfort. Yeah. So wave the feet left and right. That's it. So that they're working like that's it. Yeah, brilliant. And you can do the same with the hands and the head, and go really floppy and loose. Yeah. So we've got loose joints, shoulders as well, you've got it. Loose joints, then the blood can circulate nice and freely, which is what we want. Okay, so with your hands behind you, so either side of your hips now, bend your knees up and find hip width apart. So you know about hip being the gap between your hips or your knuckles.
Yeah.
Behind you, you've got enough space now just to let the knees rock left and right, like a pair of windscreen wipers. Yeah? So if you do a little practice, be careful, go slowly, because you might start to find yourself scooting backwards or forwards. So let's tune in with the breath now. So when you need to breathe in, then bring the knees up. When you need to breathe out, let the knees drop. That's it. So going slowly. Remember how slowly it took you to form the breaths earlier. So it's no different now. So as you let the knees drop one side, let the head move to the opposite. So you're looking down beside you. Well done. So just little half lying twist. So that's stretching out through the outer hip and into the waist a little bit. Great. And then come back to the middle and walk the hands forward and slide the legs away and then have another little shake. So that should have felt quite nice.
Oh, it's nice that.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. So we'll do the next pose. Excuse me. Which I think will focus on the breathing, which is what we need to keep the upper airways nice and clear. So we're going to build a little ramp to do Baddha Konasana, which is the bound ankle pose. So you may recall this from classes that we've done. So you'll need your one block or coffee table book. So it's reasonably, a couple of inches thick. And if you can find some sort of block to use, I think you've got a block of your own, Jane, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got mine.
Yeah, for anyone. Not tie cushion, you want something firm. Have you got a brick?
Oh, yeah, not here though.
Okay, all right. So use your second block, your second, and put it so one is on top of the other.
Yeah.
And then a cushion. We're making do and mending now. So so you're putting that on there as well. So because what we're trying to do is create a ramp onto which the bolster is going to go. So the big bolster cushion with the strap at the end going vertically.
Yeah.
You're going to rest that on your ramp.
Yeah.
Made ramps when you were a kid to go on your bicycle.
Yeah.
Bicycle jumps, but it sort of looks a little bit like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you second cushion, because you're tall, you might have a second cushion that's lower than the height of the bolster. Could be a cushion, could be your tie cushion, whichever you choose. So restorative yoga is very heavy on props, but now we're at home, we've got lots. So, and you're going to sit on the very end of this bolster and then squish it down. So I will show you, I'm going to move my prop sideways on, and then you'll be able to see me getting on board, so to speak, and you can then do the same. So you leave your props where they are.
Yeah.
I've turned around. Can you see fairly well?
Yeah.
And I'm going to put my weight onto the end of the bolster.
Yeah.
And then I'll start to slide towards the tie cushion, and that will squish down. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to allow my forearm to rest, lie myself back onto the bolster cushion, and then you've got options now. To begin with, we might just have the knees bent, and they'll get used to the whole position. And then you might knock your knees in and turn your heels out. Can you still see me on the screen?
Yeah.
Brilliant. And then you can allow your arms just to dangle. Yeah.
Okay.
Find your way onto your props to look something like I'm looking now. That would be great. And I will come off while you go on your props, and then I can direct you a little bit. Sit. So you sit your weight on the end of the bolster, and that kind of anchors it in place.
Yeah.
Okay, and then put your forearm down so that you're looking at your forearm so that you bring your head back, not straight back, because that can be quite stressful. You want to bring side back.
Falling apart. 1 second.
All right. Takes a bit of getting used to this sort of, but it's worth it when you get it sorted.
Yeah.
And it will. In this time, we've all got to sort of just trial and error, adaptation, making do with what we've got. Yeah. And the purpose of this is to provide a stretch and opening in the chest so that the lungs can work. Right. Oh, no, that's collapsed from behind you. I can see it fell away. Yeah. So you want one block off, half on and half off the other, Jane. So that it's not.
Sorry?
So can you, if I take mine apart, you have a look. I'll bring mine close in here. So what we've got is one fully on the floor, then one sloped. So it
I see. Okay, that's why.
Yeah, and that's why. And then the other one, so it's like steps. So it's steps 1, 2, 3.
So it's like that, is it?
I
can't really see your screen. Yeah.
Well,
so
yeah, it is. I think you've got that right. So there. So you see more of the bottom one, and then a little bit of the top one.
So like
so you
that.
want one flat on the floor.
Yeah.
Then the second one, no, push it further away towards your curtain.
Like that.
Yeah. So it's resting half on the floor at a little angle, and then you put high cushion on top of that.
On top of that.
Yes. So that one end of it is touching your floor. And I think it's partly because you've got they're still cellophane wraps, so they're a bit slippy, aren't they?
Yeah.
There. Okay. And then with the bolster on top, you see, that weight should anchor down and the strap vertical.
I'll do it like that, Jill. I think that's it. That'll do. Okay. Let's try it.
Okay. So when your body weight goes on it, it presses down and it will stay in position.
Okay.
Take your head back, look down to the side of you, and take one side of the head back rather than all the way, otherwise it feels a bit like you're going to get whiplash. Yes, so there you go. Now drape your arms openly, either side of you on the floor. That's it. So your head, can you swallow okay? If your chin is too lifted towards the ceiling, you want a blanket underneath it.
No, that's fine.
Yep, comfortable there.
Yeah.
Okay, keep your knees together and your heels wide apart. Knees together, and heels open. That's it. Yeah, there you go. There. So now you should start to feel that you need to go into the breath again, and that you are looking for that rise and fall of the belly. Yeah, so the inhale is the rising of the belly up towards the ceiling, and the exhale is the lowering. And your arms will start to feel heavy, but they're nice and supported with the floor, so just let them sort of dangle into the floor, and that's giving you a passive eccentric stretch into the front of your armpits area. It's opening the airways in the upper chest where we take a lot of stress, and we do in very tiring breathing. So many people who feel their breath mostly in their chest are not getting a full lungful of air, so they're already compromised. So and restricted in the upper chest. So we want to try to de-restrict things, get the circulation working there so that optimum breathing can occur. So making those arms feel really, really heavy, as if they are, I don't know, melting candles.
This is such a nice pose. It really opens you up at the top.
Yeah, it does. And when we're stressed, we tend to breathe very high in the chest and very shallow, and that provides a cycle of inefficient breathing, and it ups, the body goes more and more and more into its fight and flight area response, and so we have to try and actually trigger it to settle back down. And if the body feels safe and calm and quiet, then it can start to switch off some of the stress signals and start to nourish the major organs, which of course we want. We want, you know, the liver and kidney and spleen and pancreas and stomach to be doing what they're supposed to be doing. And if they're starved of blood and oxygen, then they can't do that. So they can't fight infection, and they can't cleanse and do what they need to do. So this is the beginning of a bound ankle pose. And we could, have you got a blanket to hand beside
I have,
you?
yeah.
So can you reach for your blanket? Just put it over your legs and feet. Yeah, so you're not on your chest, where however it will stretch, that'd be lovely. Brilliant. Yeah, so you're nice and warm. So as you start to relax, you'll find that your body temperature goes down. So with the blanket in position, just now bring your feet, soles of your feet together. And then you have to pay attention now to your low back.
Yeah.
Because I ask you to let your knees pull apart, because then you'll get an internal leg stretch. Yeah, that's it. So does that pull on your low back at all?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to do it on my screen as well. So then you can see that in due course. So the knees fall apart, and you're then releasing the tightness in your hips as well as your shoulders. And there's a big correlation between those two major joint plexes, joint junctions. And we're just letting the legs now feel as if they're soft and melting. So take a couple of moments more. If you want to change the position of your hands, you could thread them through the strap at the end of your bolster and literally strap hang. And that will change the stretch a little bit in your upper chest. And if you start to feel any sort of discomfort in your low back, then just bring your knees back together again and turn your heels out and change the angle of the stretch. Yeah, so just take 3 more breaths, let's say, focusing on the lower belly, rising on the inhale and then settling back on the exhale. Eyes closed means that you can concentrate on the inward journey rather than the external distractions. And that's what we need to do. The less distraction we have, you know, news coming in, texts, emails, music, videos, all this sort of stuff takes us out of our body and puts us in our head, and we're trying to embody and back into the body so we can be in tune with it. And the best way of doing that is through the breath.
That's so good.
I'm glad. Okay, so to come out of this, Jane,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to bring your knees back together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then shuffle them, well, keep them in the center actually, and look towards your left hand side, and then let your knees drop to the left hand side. Use the other hand across the body and roll off the blocks and pillows down towards the floor. That's it, and then push the floor away from you, out of your way, and then lift back up. And you've done the bound ankle pose, or the butterfly. So that's one of the restorative poses immediately to start to open the airways.
That's so good.
Good, I'm glad. So while we've got these props in the current position that they're in, we'll use them again because it gets quite complicated to keep moving them around. So we'll sit, if you just watch me first, you just sit on the Thai cushion like the Little Mermaid. So can you see I've got one knee bent and the shin down? Yeah. And my hip is butted up against the bolster. And do you remember we practiced that twist when we were sitting upright? So we were moving from the belly side. At the moment I'm facing, but in a minute I'm going to be facing along the length of my bolster. So I'm going to put one hand, my right hand, beside the bolster. I'm going to sit up and just execute the same twist we did earlier, which is belly moving round as I breathe out. So I end up looking down my bolster. Yeah. And then
I'm going to move my mat just so people can see.
Yeah. Thank you. That's kind. Brilliant. So
See that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's good. So then I march my hands. I've kept my twist, and I march my hands down the mat so that my center line, my sternum, my chest is going to be centered to the middle of the bolster. And I then choose which side of my head, my cheek, right or left cheek, that I'm going to rest my head. So I'll keep looking at you. And then I'm going to lift my bottom a little bit and push it away. So I've not got any tightness in top of my hip. And here, then I just lie. I can stretch out one leg if I wish to and pull it behind me a little bit, in which case I put something, blanket or cushion to prop up, so you can have that. And you're aiming to be in a lying, reclined twist over the bolster. And halfway through, after about 4 or 5 breaths on this cheek on this side, then we lift the head gently and turn the head and come to the other side.
Okay.
Okay, so give that a go so that you, and then I'll give you some instructions. Okay. So sit up tall first. That's it. Facing towards your sofa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now take your right hand and put it down the outside of your bolster. That's it. Now, and that's it. Try not to lean into it. Try to sit as upright as you can. Now here's the twist that we executed. So inhale, tall spine. Then exhale, move the belly button round to face your bolster. You might need more than one breath to do this, but that's okay. You've got time. And then the chest comes round and the shoulders and your head. Now you're looking out beyond your bolster. Take your left hand and put it in front of the hip, and then start walking your hands, marching them down either side of your bolster. So you're going to settle your belly button down, then your tummy, then your chest. Well done. And now perhaps choose to turn your head to look towards your sofa. That's it. So you can have, that's it. And now you're just lying on your bolster. You're going to pick up the right buttock and push it away from you slightly.
Yeah.
So you're comfortable, yeah, on the top of the hip. Yeah. Now you can choose what you want to do with your top leg, whether you want to straighten it and pull it back slightly or keep it bent. Whatever you do with it, you need to have a little bit of support. So if you were doing this again on your own, you perhaps might put a blanket in between the knees, and that would be comfortable. Yeah. So let's do 3 breaths on this side. Yeah, that's it. Great. So it's 3 breaths on this side. So you're now finding that your diaphragm is restricted by the firmness of the bolster. So the body is forced to try and get air into the lungs through whatever other parts of the torso are uncompressed. And so that's going to be your back. So your lungs are 3-dimensional, so they're into the back of the body and to the sides underneath your armpits. So see now if you can fill your lungs sideways and backwards up towards your ceiling. Yeah. And then exhale. So it's a bit like seeing a diversion sign on the road. You have to take a different route, but you'll get to the same destination. So we're looking to fill the lungs from the sides and the back. That's looking good. Well done. So because we're going slowly and calmly and quietly, we've got the chance to actually think about what's going on underneath the surface of the skin, inside the body. I know after all, if we don't nurture these areas, then we are nothing. So there's a very old fable that was told by the yogis about the fight between the senses of hearing and sight and sound and taste and breath. And they all had a discussion and a competition, and they took one away at a time to see how things went. And of course, as soon as breath left the body, the competition was over. We can manage without other senses. Without the breath, we are, of course, nothing. Okay, so turn the head next time you breathe in, Jane, and rest on the opposite cheek. Yeah, so when you're ready, lift the head up, that's it, turn the head. And that just deepens the twist a little, or changes the dynamic somewhat. So let your mind compute what that feels like, how that is different. You could feed your hands into the little strap at the end of the bolster if you want to change the position for the hands. And if you've made your own bolster at home, then you might find that obviously you don't have a strap. So I made one, and I might just hold on to the tassel of this hammam towel that I made my bolster out of. Okay, I'll give that a couple more breaths, Jane. And penultimate and ultimate, and then I'm going to ask you to unhook your hands. So no rush, just to fit in with my directions. Only work to your breath. It's your conductor. You're the orchestra. The breath is the conductor telling you what to do. And then start slowly to walk the hands back so that you start to come back up to sitting. Well done. Yep, back onto your bottom. Now you're going to face me, face the camera, and then pick up the knees, face the camera, and then I'm turning my back on you and you're turning your back on me, so that you end up going this way. So if you watch, then you'll see from the opposite point of view, which is quite useful. So bottom against the bolster, hands aside, then we think about the turn. So we exhale and move round. You see how I come all the way round, and then I walk myself down the bolster as I breathe out. I might have to stop halfway and then carry on, but that's fine, there's no rush. And then either arms down or hands in the here, and then cheek or cheek, whichever. Bottom lift, and then we choose where to put the leg, whatever's comfortable. Yeah, coming out, we push and lift. Okay, so yeah, well done. So is your top of your hip nice and comfortable? I forgot to tell you to take your blanket with you, but that's okay. Just see how you manage to get on with now. Breathing down, I can see your spine. So imagine my eyes are staring at the back of your torso. And every time you breathe in, I'm willing your back to sort of push back into my stare, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're trying to direct your breath to the back of your lungs, pushing your skin up into your t-shirt, pushing your t-shirt up towards the ceiling, past my stare. Well done. Because the diaphragm, the front of the body, is restricted by lying on this bolster. And the reason twists are really good for helping with stress and metabolism is because in traditional thinking, these were the areas that harbored low mood, depression, anger, fear, worry, and so forth. So we're looking to release these areas. So when you're ready, make this your penultimate breath.
Yeah.
Then you're going to, having to assume you've changed the head, the cheek turn. That's it. And now we see that the spine is twisted a couple more degrees. So take a couple of breaths there. Well done. So it's a really beautiful helical curve in the spine, relaxing the whole body, calm and quiet. Make this your penultimate breath with your head resting on to this side. And then walk the hands back, pushing down into the floor so that your torso comes up, and then that's it. That's it. And then swivel yourself round, back round to face me. Well done. So we've done an opening and we've done a reclined twist to left and to right.
Okay. That feels so much better.
Good, good. I'm glad. So we'll because of technology and battery power and sadly other things, we've got time, I think, to do a relaxation.
Okay.
So, my suggestion for relaxation is that we're going to use the props, and you could do this in bed at night to help give your back some support, because when we're in times of peril and trouble, we feel that we're losing the plot because things are changing so rapidly, then we need all the support we can get. So lying on our back, feeling the support, the mattress or the floor, is a response to giving support. So you're going to have, I've put the two blocks down on the mat with cushions on top. So in this case, we've got tie cushions, but it could be any cushions. But we're wanting to try and create a bit of height now. And this is called Stonehenge Shavasana, because it's going to look like Stonehenge, because we're going to put the bolster like a bridge over the foundations. So the higher you can make this, actually the better it will be for your back. So and you're going to lie down. So I'm going to change my round so you can see how I'm approaching this, and then you can do it too. You're going to take your other, I made another bolster earlier, and I can have that in front of my Stonehenge for my feet to go on, but equally well you don't have a second one, you could take a blanket and roll it up nice and firmly and smooth so there are no wrinkles in it, and you can put that, and that's going to go provide a little bit of support to the back of your ankle, yeah, when you come to lie down. You might want a second blanket for covering, but you'll certainly want your eye pillow. So an eye pillow is easily made by using, so I've got my blanket, and that's all ready to cover over the top of me. I made
going over the bolster like this, yeah?
Yeah, in a minute, yeah. So the eye pillow is made with a pair of socks. One is folded in half and put inside the other one. Yeah, so that gives me a bit of eye pillow, and I'll explain what that's doing. You're used to that, Jane, because we've come to class.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that makes an eye pillow if you don't have a bought one or hand sewn one. Then all you do is sit sideways onto your Stonehenge. Yeah, and swing your legs up over the top so that the back of the knees or heels are resting on your Stonehenge. And I'm shuffling away so you can get all the angles in that we need to. And then put your blanket over the top. It's much easier to do it now than it will be later. And you need to be warm. You need to nest. We're making a nest rest. That's it. And then forearm goes down and you lie back on your back. Well done. And you're going to put your eye pillow over your eyes. Well done. Excellent. Now lie the arms down, that's it, palms facing up. And if you weren't on a carpeted surface and you were back in a village hall or somewhere where we do our yoga more regularly, then you would perhaps put a cushion underneath the hands. Okay. If you were doing this later on tonight, I would recommend you do it before sleeping, because it will help. It brings you into constructive conscious rest, and then it will enable you to sleep better with more less stress to your sleep. Okay, so you're just breathing in through the nostrils, breathing out, calm and quiet. Inhaling and exhaling, calm and quiet. Letting go with the toes, with the ankles, with the shins and the calves and the knees. Well done. Letting go with the hips. And the belly, the chest, the back of the head, the length of the arms, the front of the face, so that your eyes sink back into their eye sockets. Your jaw hangs loose. You're calm and quiet in mind and body. Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more, so that we fear less. Are the words of Marie Curie. Calm and quiet. If your mind starts to wander, just bring it back to the breath. It's the bridge between the mind and the body. And it's been used by many cultures for many thousands of years as your self-caring, your self-doctoring ministrations for well-being. It's the most difficult thing to do, and yet it's so simple. Coming back to the breath. I'm going to read to you a poem by Jalaluddin Rumi. It's called The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes of an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows, who violently sweep your house empty of all its furniture, still, and treat each guest honourably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Again, gently, without disturbing the calm that you feel on the inside, add a little agitation on the outside. So you're trying to be like the swan, floating serenely on the surface of the water, whilst the paddling legs are going quite furiously underneath, unseen. So you want to keep the swan-like sensations on the inside, and particularly in your mind and your heart. And you add the wind of the wrists and the ankles, loosen off the jaw, and begin to just move your head from left and slowly to right, stirring up. It's really important when you wake up not to suddenly jerk up into sitting position, because you'll give yourself a sort of like giving yourself a bit of an electric shock. You want to come back very gradually and gracefully. Well done. And you might want to reach the arms up towards the ceiling over your chest, and combine the fingers and stretch and yawn and point the toes. Oh, and then release the hands and wind them down either side of the body. Brilliant. And then bring your knees gently towards your chest. You could rest them briefly on your Stonehenge if it feels comfortable, and windscreen wiper your knees left and right a little bit, and then it will all fall down, and that's fine. And keep windscreen wipering. Brilliant. Very slowly, not minding, not causing any trouble. Okay, and then if you can gradually find way of putting your feet to the floor. Well done. And then you're going to roll. Normally I would say roll over to your right hand side, but whichever side is more convenient in the space that you're in now. That's right. Spend a moment there, appreciating the difference between the side that's on the floor and the side that's free. And you're going to, in mind's eye, mentally prepare for having your torso vertical again. So put your hand down, the top hand onto the floor, press the floor away from you, and draw yourself slowly, keeping your eyes closed, sitting to upright. Well done. Dangle your arms either side of you. And then when you're ready, just let the arms float away from the sides of your body, turning the palms. And as you breathe out, you let the hands collapse onto each other in front of your chest to bring the hands together. An Anjali Mudra, with a prayer gesture, so you're resting on your chest. And you bow your chin and thinking of all those you love and to all those people and things to which you're grateful. And for the teaching and each other, we say Namaste.
Namaste.
So then rub your palms together. So that's just a bit of gentle noise as part of the wake up procedure. And then you put your hands over your touching your skin or just in front of your eyes, whichever you prefer, whichever you feel safest with. Take a moment and then blink a few times. You're just going to let the eyelids flutter and then start to take the heels of the hands and the fingers away gradually. So you've adjusted to the light. And you're back very gently. Okay, so then we say to each other, Om Shanti, which is peace. And we touch the floor because we're thanking Mother Earth for all the bounty that she gives us. And then we bring it back to our heart in gratitude. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Jo.
I hope you sleep well.
Thank you, I'm sure I will. Thank you.
Bless you.